You're all going to get the recording thing. Sorry about that. Sorry about starting the recording late for those of you who are watching the recording. So Ruth, you're saying, you know, you're successful, then you gain it back, right? And then some. That's a big problem. Linda says, I second guess myself. Sophie says, for me, the worst thing is it doesn't work. And that's a whole different ballgame for sure. But this idea that we're not enough, you know, like I feel that. And you can tell Oprah feels it, and we all feel it, that somehow we're not enough. Like if I could just do a little bit more, everything would work, you know, and that's puts a lot of guilt on us and a lot of pressure on us. Linda, I'm great with diets. I lose weight, but the issue is keeping it off since I finish the diet and then go back to my old habits. Right. So that's what we have to stop. I hate being hungry all the time. So the question is, you know, what is at the root of all of these struggles? And my contention is it's our beliefs. We have this set of beliefs that we've been taught by the diet industry, by our culture, that tells us that it's supposed to go this way, or we are supposed to work hard. It's supposed to be hard. And I'm going to challenge that today and every day. So these are some of the things that people say, like these are the beliefs that we have, right? I have to follow a strict diet. And what happens when we get into these strict diet things is that we lose the weight and then we gain it back, right? So we know that doesn't work. So let's stop trying to pretend that it does. And this would be a message to Oprah, who's lost and gained weight, you know, so many times since that show in 1988. Yes, so there's a biochemical factor. I agree with you, Ruth. I'm talking about mindset stuff right now. So, you know, if there's a biological thing that's making it difficult for your body to burn fat, that is a biochemical biological factor. So I'm not negating that. What I'm talking about is the attitude about it here. So, you know, all of these things are things that I think that we've sort of internalized. You have to work hard. If you can't do it, it's because you don't have willpower and or you don't have the motivation. And I'm going to talk about willpower today too. So I believe that this approach is all wrong. The way that you know that you're on the right track is that it feels good. And I will make an argument. Mindset is biological too. That's true, Patty. I will make an argument that, you know, if you're having a difficult time losing weight because of biological reasons, that you still want to feel good about it, even if you don't lose weight, because obviously the other thing doesn't work of suffering and deprivation, right? So we got to try something new. So no matter what I want you to feel good during the process. And I'm not immune to these problems. All of these mindset belief stuff, I've struggled with all of this stuff myself. So you're not alone. It's like, I'm the person who still is like, I'm not doing enough. You know, I should be doing more. I'm a nutritionist. I should know better. Like I have all that negative self-talk too. Oh, Maria, I'm glad you just started feeling good about it all. It takes time. I know, but so listen carefully to what I have to say today, okay? So the approach of suffering is wrong. That's my contention for you. And there is a better way, and it's readily available to all of us. So I'm going to show, this is about a 1.5-minute video of Marissa, who I worked with, and we worked together for 6 months. She lost 20 pounds, which was exactly her goal. And I'll let you hear her, what she has to say. This is not a sensationalized testimonial. This is real deal stuff here. Hopefully you can hear her. No? Okay. 1 second. I know why you can't hear. And I am going to fix that right now. Share sound. That's a very important thing that you have to click when you do these sorts of things. Okay, now I'm going to play Marissa. Please tell me if you can hear, okay? Let's go, Marissa.
My name is Marissa Ferguson, and I'm 61. I had been on so many diets for, golly, 20 years. You know, and every practitioner or doctor had me on a different thing, and it only got more and more restrictive as time went by. And I think I was just really tired of being told what I couldn't have. And I'm a very good girl. I follow all the rules. So this was my way of being a rebel and saying, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm gonna do what I want to do. So I think that was really hard for me to say, okay, I need to lose weight, but I have to restrict myself again. And that, I think, was the biggest hurdle. But like I said, it just wasn't as bad as I thought. And I could have more than I thought and still lose weight, which was really a shock to me. The other thing that was really kind of surprising was that you never told me what I couldn't have. I don't think you ever told me what I couldn't have. You always said, why don't you add some of this? And why don't you add some of that? So I didn't, I didn't feel like you were giving me a ton of rules.
Okay, so that's Marissa. And so I'm sharing this with you. This is a real testimonial. This is not some sensationalized, like, I lost 100 pounds in 8 weeks, like this is a real person who I love dearly. And we worked together for 6 months, and she's an artist. You can tell she's got some artwork in the back. But the thing about Marissa was that she really was like up to here with dieting. Like she had no tolerance for it. And you heard her, like we literally we added stuff. We added stuff to her life. And that's what I really want to talk about today, is that rather than thinking about taking away, think about what you can add. So we are anti-suffering. Emily, Tari, myself, we do not believe that you should suffer, no matter what. I don't care. If you can't lose weight, well, okay, there's a reason for that, but let's stop trying to just eat less food, because that obviously isn't working. So we're going to we'll talk about some strategies that are painless and simple. And excuse me. So it's a little bit different from what you may hear on a normal sort of webinar or information session. And just to let you know now, we're going to go through these 3 strategies, and afterwards I am going to introduce you to a program that Emily and Tari and I do together. And so I do have a special offer for you today, because it's New Year's, and this is the time when people are ready to go, which I love. So I will be talking about that later on, but first we're going to talk about these 3 strategies and our processes. So this is the picture of Oprah on the, I guess on your left would be the in 1988 picture when she did the liquid diet, and on the right is a more modern picture of her. I think she looks absolutely fabulous. But the reason that I'm showing you this picture again is to show you that it's not sustainable. And we know that, right? But we really want to know that it's not sustainable. And it's, even though Oprah is a very highly intelligent, sophisticated woman who's, learned probably about every kind of diet that there ever has been, she is going at it the wrong way. And I think most of us are. It's so easy to fall into the trap of going at it the way that we've been taught to do it. So it's not just Oprah, it's not just you, it's not just me, it's all of us. We have to work against the tide to see things in a very different way. We have to focus on different problems. So I have 3, now this may be the most important slide in this entire presentation, okay? I want to talk about 3 myths. There are more than 3, but I want to talk about these 3 that we fall into easily fall into. The first is that we have to suffer. And my contention is actually the opposite is true. We have to enjoy the process or it's not sustainable. And as a matter of fact, I'm willing to even go so far to say that Enjoying the process is not optional. It's not optional. Like if you're not enjoying the process, then you're doing something wrong. You got to redo, you got to fix it. Okay. This is a very, very important thing. And if you learn nothing from this webinar and you just take that, it will be incredibly valuable to you. The second is that we have to rely on willpower. That is a myth. As a matter of fact, willpower is unreliable. If you're tired, stressed, overwhelmed, whatever it is, you're not, if you've just had to make too many choices in the day, you're not going to have willpower. And what we need to do is set up our environments for success. That is one of the most important antidotes to willpower. So an example would be when you come home from work in a busy day, or you've been working in your dining room all day, and you go into the kitchen, what's in the fridge? Because what's in the fridge is what you planned to get put in the fridge over the weekend or when you have the time. Is it cookies and cold cuts and fried chicken? I don't know. If it is, well, now you're stuck using willpower. But if you actually plan and you have the right stuff in your fridge, you're tired, your willpower is low, but lo and behold, you have a vegetable soup in there that you can heat up quickly, and some cut up vegetables or a bag of baby carrots. Do not rely on willpower. It's an unreliable friend. And also that we have to deprive ourselves, right? The deprivation, low calorie diet, removing carbs, whatever it is, that's required. No, it is not required. As a matter of fact, the answer to this is that we have to understand our bodies. You have to understand what works for your body and what doesn't. That's very unique to you. And we got to choose superfoods, which we're going to talk about today. It's not about taking away, it's about adding. That's Marissa. She lost 20 pounds. She didn't feel deprived. How did we do that? We added stuff. So the things that we're going to talk about today are all about adding. So this is an embarrassing picture of me. And I was 37 years old. I was about 25 pounds more than I am now. Sonia, my little baby, she was probably 2 at the time. And, I was in baby land, cat land. I was not taking care of my body. You can see my skin was a mess. Look at my hair. I mean, okay, it's an embarrassing picture, but I put it there for a reason to show you, like, I was not taking care of my body. And, about a year later, I was diagnosed with Hashimoto's, which is an autoimmune condition of the thyroid. And, that was a wake-up call. So I started to change things. But the problem is, ladies, I was going to say guys, but I'm going to say ladies. I went down this road for 2 or 3 or maybe 4 years where I was into all the deprivation, no dairy, no gluten, low carb, keto. Like I went through all the deprivation and the suffering. And I'll tell you something, it wasn't worth it. I mean, I learned a good lesson, but it wasn't worth it because I got to the point where I was just so sick of all of the restrictions. I couldn't do it anymore. And I still can't to this day. I mean, I kind of ruined myself for life. I cannot go on a diet, just like you all. But some of you may know my story about how I had 15-year-long nighttime eating addiction. This was all during this period of time. When this picture is taken, I was eating a pint of ice cream every night, which is, I'm not proud of, but that's the way it was at the time. But then I went into this really, really restrictive time. And then so I was restrictive during the day, and then at night I was still eating. And that was my big problem. I had to work on my mindset. And I realized that when Sonia was 11, some of you may have heard this story before, but one night I was sitting with her, we were eating popcorn, and I was not hungry. I had already eaten dinner. And with this big bowl of popcorn, it was just, stuff in the face. And I looked at her and I was like, I'm full. And she said in her 11-year-old mind, well, why are you eating? And I didn't have an answer for that. And that was really a pivotal moment for me when I realized it's up here, it's in my mindset. You can have all the nutrition knowledge in the world, but if you don't work on your mindset, you're not going to really, really, really make the change that you need to make. And that was when I started on my journey of saying no more dieting. This next picture is spring of 2020. Yes, we were in lockdown. I was working out in my living room, which was not fun. But this is after I figured a lot of stuff out. And there were three major things that I started doing in about 2016. That's when I really overcame my nighttime eating addiction. In terms of my hacks, right? Like hacks at you. Because I saw the writing on the wall. It was like, well, if I keep going the way I'm going, I'm just going to gain weight and gain weight and gain weight. So I had to do something. And the first thing I did was fitness, which we're going to talk about today. And I have to give a shout out, even though Preston's not on the call right now, I have to give a shout out to Preston Redwine, who's a dear friend of mine. I invested in working with him for 2 years as a personal trainer. Why did I make that investment? Because I saw the value of working with a trained professional to move the dial. And we certainly moved the dial, because what happened was it became so much easier for me to maintain my weight. So this is what I'm talking about adding, right? Like you add the fitness, you add the strength training, you add the other two things we're going to talk about are fasting and fat burning foods. And I use those as well. So to this day, how do I maintain my weight? Well, I'm relatively careful, but if I want to have some ice cream, I have it. If I want to have some cake, I have it. But I make sure that I keep my fitness up, that I do these fat burning foods, and that I practice intermittent fasting, which is not for everybody. But we're going to talk about that. So those are the three hacks that we're going to talk about today that I use personally. Because I can't diet. I'm not going to. So this is Karen, who did the WIN program, which is our program. And she came completely jumbled and confused. She says, I needed a mental reset and an approach that felt natural to integrate into my real life in an ongoing way. So this is what we're all about right here. She struggled with her weight her whole life. So Chardonnay, oh, hi Chardonnay. I love intermittent fasting. Yes. So it's a great tool. So we're going to talk about these three tools. We have fitness, fasting, and fat burning foods. And these three things we integrate into our program, but not in the beginning. Okay. So I want you to really get that. Like in the beginning, we work on slowing down and figuring out what works for your body. And after a certain period of time, we say, we talk about these things, but only one at a time. So Janet's been intermittent fasting for almost 2 years. Cool. I knew that, Janet. It's awesome. I know it's worked actually very well for you, Janet. It's a fantastic strategy. But it's just one. So we're going to talk about the other ones. We're going to talk about fitness first. So fitness must be done wisely. No suffering involved. You may not love working out, but you shouldn't be suffering. So I want to encourage you to do what you love. Start wherever you are right now. I want you to increase it in small doses, and always leave a little on the table. When you go and you work out, Sophie, dance classes, I love it. See, this is an example of something that I would imagine, Sophie, you love dancing, right? Like you go there, you have a good time. That's really, really important, again, for sustainability. Yeah. Oh, Patty, I know that you do karate. That's so cool. But resistance. So in this today, we're talking about the concept of building muscle and burning fat, right? It's not weight loss. It's less fat, more muscle, right? So absolutely essential that you do resistance training, especially like if you're 25, it matters less. Once you hit 45 or so, you have to do resistance training. You could just use your body weight. You don't have to do fancy stuff, but gotta be doing resistance training in order to build muscle. And unfortunately, as we age, we naturally lose muscle. We're fighting an uphill battle, ladies. We are fighting an uphill battle. The loss is inevitable. The question is how much can we slow it down? Unfortunately, resistance training is very important. So I want to introduce you to, and I love hiking too, Joanne. And Joanne, you live around the corner from me. We should go hiking together. What I want to introduce you to is this idea that I came up with about how we're in different phases of our relationship with exercise. Okay. I love this model. So First is the romance phase. Second is the developing relationship phase. And third is marriage. Now, I want you to think about, I'm going to ask you some questions right now, and you can put it in the chat. I want you to assess. You may already know just from reading this where you're at, but I want you to kind of assess where you think you're at, which phase, because that's going to determine your next steps with fitness. So so I want to ask you some questions. So first of all, do you like exercise? I see Rebecca loves exercising. Chardonnay hates working out. Rachel, yes. Hi, Rachel. Tari, hi. Is there a difference? Okay, we're gonna do questions after. Tari, so ask me that after, okay? So Sophie, no, yes. Some love lifting, Emily, okay. Okay, and Janet, you're in between 2 and 3. Okay, good. So love to exercise, no, but I love social exercise. Good, Elise, so you know that about yourself. Very good knowledge to have. Feel better when you do. Hi, Joanne. So that's first part, right? Do you like it or not? Ruth, you're walking with a cane. Okay. The next question is, what is your level of fitness right now in terms of your beginner, intermediate, or advanced? Intermediate, marriage. Linda, you're married. Okay. But we're gonna address this a little bit. I pretty much love swimming, love exercise. Can't read everything this fast. Maria's in a developing relationship. Lapsed, advanced. Okay, so like Amy, lapsed, advanced, then you would be in closer to a developing relationship, probably. Linda, it's not a good marriage. The other Linda's advanced, intermediate, love. Okay, developing. All right, so you're kind of getting an idea of what I mean by this, right? Then are you consistent, inconsistent, or inactive? So consistent with Pamela, I know you're advanced. Katri, remarried, I like that. Yeah, exactly. You can get divorced. Many of us got divorced. Consistent, inconsistent, and inactive. Okay, so you kind of know where you're at. So taking in all of that, I want you to be thinking about, where are you, which phase of relationship are you in? I'm consistent in the good weather. I hate cold. So that's something to work on again, off again relationship. Good. So also, just as a side note, if you're busy, if you're a very busy person, hi Blair, you can work out, okay? You just got to keep it short and sweet and be very, very targeted about it. Okay, so I want to just put that out there for those of you who are very busy. So if you're in the romance phase, I want you to listen up, okay? This is for people who are inactive, beginners. You could have, like I said, you could be divorced and getting into a new romance. I want you to think of this as a new relationship with a hot man or woman or whatever you're into. You have to romance yourself with exercise during this phase. This is not optional. You have to romance yourself, okay? Do what you love. Start with 5 minutes, 5 minutes, twice a week, 3 times a week, whatever it is that you can do. Now I'm going to tell you an example of Chardonnay. Okay, I'll try. I love it, Chardonnay. 5 minutes. I have a client that I've been working with for several months now, and she was totally inactive. And she was like, well, I'm going to walk. This was in the summer. She lives in Maryland. And she was like, I walked 30 minutes. I'm like, no, I told you to do 5. She's like, yeah, but it felt so good. Okay, so she walked 30 minutes like twice that week, and then twice next week, and then once the next week. And guess what happened the week after that? Nothing. Why? Because she went from 0 to 30 minutes. Don't do that. Trust me, learn from me, learn from my clients who, I'm working with already. Like, don't bite off more than you can chew. Do less, leave some on the table. Be in love with it. Okay, this is a romance. Just like if you met, I'm gonna say a man because I like men, maybe you like women, I don't know, but when you first meet somebody, you want it to be exciting and alluring, right? You don't want it to be separate. This is where you're at with your relationship with exercise. Own it. Don't try to fit a square peg in a round hole. Own where you're at. It's okay. I would rather that you do it 5 minutes a day for the next 3 months, and then you move to 10 minutes a day. Now you have a habit, right? Linda Green, you were talking about earlier about the habits, right? You got to get the habits on in the belt. And the best way to do that is slow and steady wins the race. Very, very slow and steady. Make it fun, no serious expectations. The only expectation you have is that you keep doing it. I don't care if you go out into the yard and you run around in circles with your dog for 5 minutes. Boom, you moved. Okay. So, you know, I've asked this question about a lot of things relating to food and fitness and all of this. Would you rather take a year to be doing it consistently, and you only increased in 5-minute increments, but a year later you have a consistent habit, or do it really hard for 30 days and then do nothing, and a year later you still have nothing? You see what I'm saying? It's better to move slowly. Okay, Chardonnay. The next would be a developing relationship. So it seems like a lot of people here are in that phase. Very important to have a plan. If you think that you're going to accomplish things without a plan at this stage, it's going to be a barrier to entry. You need to have a plan. On Mondays, I do this for 20 minutes from 10 a.m. to 10:20 a.m. On Wednesdays, I do this. I'm going to watch this YouTube video. I know which video it is. I know where I'm going to walk. I know where I'm going to swim. I know which class I'm going to take. Have a plan. Don't have lack of planning be a barrier. It's a silly one, and it's easily fixed. Sit down on the weekend when you're in a good mood and write up your plan. Okay, don't wait till Monday morning when you're like, well, I don't know what I should do, but I know I need to exercise. Allow yourself to experiment, explore, find something new that excites you during this time. Remember, think about it. In a love relationship, it's the same thing. Like, you know, you're learning about each other, you're exploring, you're experimenting. Do the same thing with exercise. Start by committing to add a little bit more activity or intensity. So for example, I work out for 30 minutes, now I'm going to work out for 35. Or I have the dial on my elliptical at 5, I'm just going to turn it to 6. That's it. Little bit more. Okay, because you want to slowly develop your relationship. And I will share the story of, we're going to call her Lisa because I'm going to change people's names, but so Lisa, when she first started working with me, she was walking 5 days a week, and that had helped her lose weight, but it stopped helping. And that happens, you know? So what we did was I said, why don't you just go and find some cool YouTube videos? She has a chair workout. There's this Jamaican guy who does chair workouts. She loved that. She found these women that were like Vietnamese, and they were doing this like old school aerobics. She loved it. And she, you know, so she like augmented it with stuff that was interesting. Chair workout, that's for me. Yes, Ruth, I will send you the chair workout guy. Okay. Exactly. There's always a way. I remember at my gym, you know, pre-COVID, there was a man who came in there. He could barely walk. He could barely get into the place, but they had one of those machines that, you know, you row with your arms. He was still there. And don't push it. You know, you're not married yet. When you're in your developing relationship, cut yourself some slack. Okay. You didn't take your vows yet. So it's okay if you're, you know, trying new things. And then finally, we have the married people. You may be married to fitness and everything's working perfectly and there's nothing you need to change. And if that's the case, well, good, you know, go for it. But if not, I think Linda Green, I saw in there, your relationship, your marriage is not so great. There are ways to bring back the excitement and romance to your fitness. And Linda, you can talk to Emily about that, because Emily knows a lot about fitness. Very important. Now, if you get overwhelmed by this statement, that means that you are not married yet. Okay, so I want you to make sure, if you're married only, that you have cardio, that you have strength training, and that you have physical activity. You need all three. Okay, if you're married, this doesn't sound terrible to you. It sounds actually maybe a little bit appealing, like, oh, maybe I need to add something. If you're in a developing relationship or romance, it's gonna sound overwhelming, so just don't listen for it. Blah, 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 don't listen. So we need all three, okay? We'll just leave it at that. Physical activity means taking a walk. So cardio, okay. Hi, Angela. So, okay. Every movement that you do is considered physical activity, but I want you to think in terms of this. Cardio is like where you're jogging, you're biking, you're doing an elliptical, you're deliberately getting your heart rate up. Strength training, we all know, right? You're going to use some weights, you're going to use body weights, you're going to use bands, whatever. Physical activity is just being a human being. Movement in your life, cooking, cleaning, gardening, rearranging your house, cleaning out the garage, taking a walk, walking your dog. That's physical activity. If you're already physically active and you're married and you're working out 5 days a week, but you're not in addition being active in your life, you're missing out. We need all three. Okay. And we could talk more about that. I'm just worried, a little bit worried about time. So I want you to be aware of overtraining that can backfire on you and make it so that now you cannot lose weight. So a lot of people who get married, they're doing everything, they stopped losing weight. And it's because you got to mix it up, or you may be overtraining. Heart rate training is something we talk about in our program. And because what we want to do is take all of this to a new level, whether you're married or it doesn't matter what phase you're in. Heart rate training is an amazing thing that you can add. Okay, so that's physical fitness, which obviously is very important for building muscle, right? Now we're going to talk about fasting. Again, must be done wisely, no suffering involved. And I would love to, I know a couple of people said that you're fasting. Anybody, if you want to put in there that you're doing fasting, I'm just curious to see if anybody else is doing it. So fasting, I just want to be clear, there's fasting and there's time restricted feeding. Most of us, we're talking about time restricted feeding. That's where you don't go 24 hours without eating. You go maybe 16, 18, 20 hours without eating. Okay. That's time restricted feeding. Janet, right. Yeah. So Janet has a 4 to 6 hour eating window. So that's time restricted feeding. What happens is when you do that, when you stop eating dinner at 6 or 7 p.m., as you go into the evening, now you're getting into the fasted state. You have the benefit of the sleep, right? And you wake up and maybe you delay your breakfast. What you're doing is you're stimulating, you are regulating insulin and leptin, which are two very important hormones for fat burning. So you are promoting fat burning by not eating. The simplest way to put it. Yeah, so Maria, you're a good example that really moved the dial for you. Doesn't work for everyone. Fitness does. Everybody should be doing some kind of fitness if you can. But listen to your body always, okay? So, because what we don't want is for you to get into a situation where, you're hurting yourself. I recommend, no, I don't recommend. I require that you, I have to say that you consult with a medical doctor or a healthcare professional. It could be a nutritionist before you do any fasting, okay? Because, there are risks, especially if you're on a medication. You want to start increasing your fasting by the hour, just 1 hour. So if you normally eat breakfast at 8, now you're going to eat breakfast at 9. Don't go from, I eat breakfast at 8 and now I'm going to go to noon, because that's going to potentially cause problems for you. So it has to be done in phases. So you slowly work your way up to 16 to 18 hours where you're not eating, right? Like Janet said. So if you're 18 hours not eating, that's 6 hours of eating, right? And so during those 18 hours, you're burning fat. And it's pretty awesome. And it's this is painful for you, then you're doing too much too soon, or maybe it's just not for you. But most people find it very easy and painless. This is what I'm talking about here. You don't have to suffer. Yeah, so at least fasting can change it can propel weight loss. Absolutely. That is why we're talking about it. That's because it's modulating hormones. It's not just, oh, I'm not eating, so I'm taking in less calories. It's also hormonal, and it's also genetic. And I'm going to talk about that in a minute. It can take months to get to where you want to be. Just make sure you drink plenty of water, because when you're not eating, you're not taking in that the water from the food. Okay, so I'm going to try to hurry up a little bit because I see it's 12:46. Fat burning foods. Again, this is about adding. So we're going to talk about Cert Foods. Some of you may be familiar with this already, may have heard me talk about them. We talk about this in the program as well. These are superfoods. And I would love to hear if you eat any superfoods already, please let us know what they are. Cert Foods are called Cert Foods because they turn on the sirtuin genes. The sirtuin genes are also activated by fasting. Okay, so remember when I said fasting, not only hormonal, but also genetic regulation? This is why. So these foods are not just, oh, they're good, healthy plant foods. No, that's not just the reason that we encourage them. They actually modulate your genetic activity. The polyphenols, the plant nutrients are turning on your sirtuin genes, which is then turning on fat burning and muscle building, not just fat burning, but actually stimulates muscle production. Do you see how incredible this is? So we have fasting, we have fat burning foods, and we have fitness. I'm going to emphasize to you very strongly, just one. I want you to think about just one after today, not all three, okay? Elise, blueberries, cauliflower, nuts, Brussels sprouts, dates, arugulas, capers. Pamela knows about the Cert food. Moringa, I like that. Okay, I'm going to go back and look at some of these, but I want to just move on. And I'm going to give you here, I'll give you a moment to look at this. You can take a picture. These are the top 20 Cert foods. They're all delicious, wonderful foods, easy to add. Green tea during my fast. It's an absolutely wonderful idea, Janet. As long as you don't get, some people are sensitive to caffeine, that would be me. Yeah, green tea is by far one of the most heavily researched of these foods, packed with polyphenols. Remember, this is not just, oh, this is a healthy food. These are packed with polyphenols that are turning on your sirtuin genes, which now is modulating your insulin activity, modulating your ability to build muscle. And I want you to remember, keep in mind, for me, what do? I do all three. They're synergistic, and I could talk for a half hour about that, but I'm not going to, but they actually are synergistic with each other. So you're not going to see results in 3 days of doing this. This is a lifelong thing that's easy to do. You'll never have to stop doing this because it's not hard. You see what I'm saying? This is lifelong health building we're talking about here. How do you know how much of each? As much as you can, Sophie. The more you eat of these, the more benefit you're going to get. That's why I juice. So I juice parsley, kale, celery, arugula, turmeric. You can, heat up get some turmeric teas. So a lot of them I juice, but I just try to add them in as much as I can. Elise, I'm going to talk about the red wine in a minute. Okay. I want to save that for the Q&A because I only have 10 minutes and I want to get through everything. So again, fitness, fasting, fat burning foods. Those are three powerful strategies that you need to actually do in order for them to work. Okay. I know it sounds obvious, but you don't want to get caught up in the thing of like, well, I'm not doing enough. Right? That's a big problem a lot of us have. It's like, well, I'm not doing enough, so I'm not going to do anything. Don't fall into that trap. Tiny baby steps, okay? But also, you need accountability and support. Most of us need accountability and support to implement this. And the people that I found that are the most successful are people that get that support by far. and avoid that, the fad diets, the quick fixes, and the all or nothing mentality. So after today, you have to figure out which of these strategies is best for you right now. And if you want to put into the chat, if you have an idea, just one, okay, just one. You have the rest of your life to start the other things. Fat burning foods, Sophie, I think that's excellent for you. Fasting, awesome. So you also have to make sure you're getting enough exercise. I mean, I'm reading Janet's thing, schedule exercise, getting enough nutrients, how to fit these practices into your lifestyle, how to stay committed, how to get the support and accountability to stay on track. Either you work with a professional or you get a buddy. I would recommend either of those. More superfoods, exercise, Chardonnay. Okay, more fat burning foods, Linda, I like that. I could send you the list. Yeah, we'll attach the list in the email. Adding Cert Foods, Elise Barnes, good. I love that for you, Elise. As a matter of fact, Elise Barnes, I was thinking about you last night, and I know that you were going to attend this, and I was thinking, I hope Elise says that she's going to add those Cert Foods. Elise and I have worked together for a long time. She is an absolutely amazing person, by the way. Anyway, intermittent fasting, more varied exercise, Cert Foods. Okay, good. One, okay. Add the, Karen, Cert Foods come later. So you can figure this out for yourself, or we can help. And this is the part where I'm going to tell you about the program that we have. It's called the Win Weight Loss Program. This program is not for people who, it is not for people who want a quick fix fad diet, okay? That is not for you, the Win program. Is also, if you're not committed right now, that's fine. Don't try to do something if you're not committed. You got to be fully committed. But it is for people who don't want to diet, who are tired of losing and then gaining weight, done with fad diets, crash diets, for people who understand the value of personalized support from professionals. Also, I'm going to tell you in a minute, but we start off slowly by understanding how to nourish your body properly. It has to start there. Shouldn't really start with the fitness, fasting, and fat burning. We actually bring that in later. And people are serious about doing this for the last time. And I'll show you why. So the program, we start with, it's a 6-month program, 24 weeks. We start with slowing down and figuring out what works for your body and what doesn't. This is so important. You have to become an expert in you, and we teach you how to do that. Then we bring in the 3 F's: fitness, fat burning foods, and fasting. And the reason that we bring these in later is we want to get to know you, right? And then we kind of work together and say, well, maybe it's time for you to upregulate your fitness. Maybe it's time for you to add these fat burning foods. And then finally, the sustain period. That's where, like Linda Green was talking about, Linda, we want you to have those habits in place so that you don't go back. When it's habitual, it's much easier to sustain. So the benefits of the program: lose body fat in a healthy, sustainable, and loving way. Increase lean muscle efficiently. So we do talk about how to do heart rate training and how to be efficient with your exercise, because it's not, the idea is not just, oh, work out more. It's like work out smarter. Develop a healthy self-care relationship with food and your body. And of course, we have all our hacks and our tricks and our mindset tips to make the process fun and enjoyable, and dietary confusion for good. And it's highly personalized to your needs. You work with a coach. And of course, we all have master's degree in nutrition, so it's safe and science-based. The features, the way the program works, it's a 24-week program where you have each week there's a module with videos, and there's recipes and resources for you. This is a new feature that I just added that I'm super excited about, is the monthly mindset mastery group calls, where anybody who's in this program or who works with me one-on-one, we're going to get together once a month and we're going to talk about the mindset stuff, and we're going to practice. I'm super excited about this. You will get your own coach who monitors your food diary closely and gives you feedback, and you're getting weekly one-on-one calls with your coach. And of course, email support is needed. So that's the program. I want to bring back Karen. You remember Karen? Oh, thank you, Maria. Thank you for joining us today. So Karen says, I found exactly what I needed at WIN. Danielle, who used to work with us, helped me identify small incremental changes that fit into my taste, lifestyle, and needs. So that's what we're all about. No getting away from the food diary, huh? Well, maybe, but we can discuss that, Sophie, if you want. So I'm going to move on because what I'm conscious of time, and I want to say that if you are interested in the WIN weight loss program, I want to invite you to get on a call with me. And Emily, can you put that in the chat? Because I don't know if I have the link queued up. Maybe I do. No, I don't. Thank you. So Emily just put a link in the chat. So basically you have to get on a call with me. This program is not for everybody, but if you think it is for you, or if you're at that point where you're like, I'm not sure, but I really don't know what I should do next, get on a call with me. I'm not going to try to, again, fit a round peg in a square hole. If it's not for you, it's not for you, but what would be the right thing for you? And we have a bonus. So, if you sign up before January 21st to get on a call with me, you get an extra month free. So, I guess you could say it's a $400 value or a $280 value, however you want to say it, but basically you get an extra month of coaching and the Mindset Mastery Group and all of that. Okay, so if you're interested in that, please get on a call with me. If you have questions, let me know. We're at 12:57, and so we have 3 minutes, but I'm fine with staying on over for those of you who have burning questions that you really want to get answered. And if we don't get them answered in the next 3 minutes. So I'm going to go back over here. And I saw a question in there that I wanted to, if you have a question, please put it in the chat right now. Even if you put it before, because I may not be able to get to it, Oh, Elise says, how much red wine a day for a woman is okay? Well, Elise, technically 0. Okay, red wine is one of the Cert Foods because it's very rich in resveratrol, which is a very wonderful polyphenol. However, alcohol is toxic to the body. And so I don't really recommend getting your polyphenols through wine. Like, oh, I'm going to drink 3 glasses of red wine every day to get my polyphenols. Probably not conducive to burning fat. Thank you, Eleanor. Hi. Katri says, thoughts on bone broth. I love bone broth. It is fantastic. Not a Cert food, but great for the gut. Rich in minerals, rich in amino acids that are very nourishing for your gut. So I'm a huge fan. Patty, thanks. I appreciate hearing what you presented as always. I'm sure you'll be helping lots of folks, Jill. Thank you, Patty. Marcia, the session, thank you for the Christmas card, Marcia. You can find resveratrol by itself instead of drinking red wine. You can buy resveratrol in a supplement, but anything that's red is rich in resveratrol. So, well, I shouldn't say that unequivocally, but for the most part, think red grapes, right? Linda Green, yes, you and Janet should partner up. I love that idea. Buddies are fantastic. Many thanks, very helpful. Yeah, so you guys should connect for sure. I love that. Any other questions here, ladies? I'm trying to, I don't know who, if everybody's on who was asking the questions. Ruth, I see you. Ruth, I see you, and I feel for you with walking with cane. So I just wanted to note that. And I mentioned it a little bit, right? Like chair workouts, and I'm going to send those to you as well. Any other questions, concerns? We're exactly at 1 o'clock. I hope this was meaningful and helpful for you. I enjoyed doing it so much. I'm so glad I was able to. I was a little worried I wasn't because of the COVID thing. Sophie, again, I want to emphasize, I've had a lot of, I've encountered a lot of people who have that metabolic block, like it's really hard to lose weight. Lean heavily into fiber and vegetables as much as you possibly can. Okay, so you guys are exchanging phone numbers. What are the differences in burning and suffering during exercise? Okay, so yes, Janet, definitely Cert Foods fit beautifully in a vegan diet or any diet. Linda, thank you. So listen, if you're married, you're gonna be burning. You're gonna feel your muscles burning. You're going to be like, ugh. But that's the point. You're already married. So, Tari, I don't want you to worry about that right now. I want you to worry. It's like, you know, when you're in the romance phase of a relationship, are you thinking about arguing over your tax bill, you know, 10 years into your marriage? No, you're not, right? Don't think about that. Anything that even triggers a little bit of suffering about exercise for you, I want you to say, that's for married people. I want you to focus on the romance. What do you love doing? What feels good? Just move. Just move. Go out into the garden. Take a walk. Take a dance class that fills your soul. And don't worry about the suffering, okay? The burns or whatever. You enjoy the burn. Okay. Thank you, Tari. That's right. So I enjoy the burn too, as a matter of fact. That's the funny part, right? Is that the suffering turns into this endorphin rush. Oh, Linda, you couldn't do the master group times at all? Shoot. Well, shoot me some ideas. I don't know if I could change it. I sent it out to a bunch of people. So Sherry says, heal well, PS, welcome an accountability partner, fellow winner or Bostonian up for that. Sherry, Sherry, aren't you in Nyack? Oh, no, Sherry, I know who you are. You're the singing coach, Sherry, right? Zicardi? The master mindset group times are, and that's for people in the WIN program, Ruth. Those are on WIN, on the odd months. So in January, it's on the second Wednesday at 5 p.m. Eastern. And on in the even months, we're doing it on Mondays at 1 p.m. Eastern. So I have some West Coast people, so that's why we're doing it middle of the day. Oh, some of these comments are not showing up for all, FYI. So I'm trying to read them as much as I can. Yes, Sherry, singer in Connecticut from Western New York and used to be in Boston. So Sherry, why don't, Marcia, are you up for it? Email me and I can connect the two of you, okay? It's not a problem. Or if you're in the Facebook group, you can always connect. Any other questions? We're at 1:03. I know lots of people have to jump off. Oh, Sherry, your comments are only going to Jill. So Marcia has not seen that. Oh yeah, it says Sherry to host some panelists, right? Yeah, you got to send it to everyone. So this was fun. I hope you ladies got a lot of information, and let me know if you have any questions about anything, and keep in touch. Please keep in touch and let me know how it goes, like what you're going to do. I'm going to send you emails so you can let me know what you decided to do. All right, everybody, I am going to sign off. Thank you so much for joining us today. I really appreciate your time in this busy world. All right, Janet, take care. Katri, Maria, thank you, everybody. Chardonnay, Emily, Rachel, Sophie. I know all of you. All right, take care. Bye. Bye, Tari. Bye, Debbie.